One Piece has recently introduced two new mysterious characters who invaded the island of Elbaf. Of these two, the one who looks exactly like Shanks has clearly gotten most of the fans' attention, but I actually think the girl who is with him is her very own mystery. I think there is a very good chance that she's someone who we've met before, and that she's in fact the very same silhouetted character we saw in Imu's private chamber during the Reverie. And to go further, it could also be that we saw her at God Valley during Kuma's flashback. The two characters who came to Elbaf are pretty much confirmed to be affiliated with the world government, as the way they came to the island was through the same magic circle used by the five elders in the Egghead arc. When the girl later attacked the giants in the castle where she was summoned to, she also seemingly managed to do this without making any contact with the giants she targeted. This could be her devil fruit power, but the ability she uses is also eerily similar to the telekinetic powers displayed by Saint Saturn on Egghead, where Saturn for example was able to push the Straw Hats to the ground without lifting a finger. If this girl does actually have the same powers as the five elders, it could be a big hint about her connection with Imu. The elders' powers are seemingly powers granted to them by Imu, as at the end of the Egghead arc, Imu was able to both telepathically talk to and kill Saint Saturn by de-aging him. This could well mean that the Elder's special powers, be it their invulnerability, telepathy, or summoning abilities, all come from Imu. And what the arrival of these two characters in Elbaf proves is that there are characters even outside the five elders who possess these powers. The characters who possess these abilities are likely also all within Imu's inner circle. Imu's identity is essentially the number one secret of the world government, and even most of the characters affiliated with the government do not know that they are being ruled by a king of the world who's been alive since the Void Century. This fact also seemingly extends to most of the celestial dragons, who are seemingly kept blissfully ignorant of the truth, where some of them have not even heard about the Void Century itself. The very few celestial dragons who do know about Imu's existence are also willing to take very drastic measures to keep their master's identity hidden. When King Cobra saw Imu in the Holy Land, the five elders without any hesitation decided that his life was forfeit, meaning that even something like assassinating a world leader was of little concern, if it meant that Imu's existence remained a secret. This was however only a taste of what the elders were willing to do to protect Imu, where they were later willing to destroy the entire country of Lulusia Kingdom in an attempt to kill Sabo, who'd also seen Imu. Suffice to say, if there is a character in the story Imu is willing to trust with his identity, they are likely someone in the upper echelons of the world government. Ivankov later speculates that the reason why the five elders have this loyalty for Imu is that Imu could in fact be Saint Nerona Imu, one of the founders of the world government from over 800 years ago, who's found a way to be immortal. And while this could very well be the case, what Ivankov is not aware of is that Imu has loyal servants in the government even outside just the five elders. It is very likely that Saint Vigarland Garling knew of Imu's existence before he was even promoted to be the newest member of the elders. What Garling says to the other elders is that he was given orders to become the new elder and warrior god of science and defense. As the Gorosei are officially the highest authority in the world, this strongly indicates that Garling is one of the few celestial dragons who knew of Imu even before the Egghead arc, but he is not the only one. As brought up in the intro, Imu seemingly has a private attendant in the Holy Land who also knows of his existence. The first time we saw her was during the Reverie, where she personally informs Imu that the five elders have come to meet him. We also seemingly see her a second time during the Egghead arc, where she is present when Imu gets shocked by sensing the presence of Joy Boy's Conqueror's Haki. What's that? It appears that Imu actually had something important to say in this scene. Click the like button for this video, or I will send an admiral after you. Oh no. You better do as he says. Even though it has not been officially confirmed yet, it also seems very likely that the character attending Imu is female. The silhouette itself is very slender, and similar to a lot of other female characters seen in One Piece. More importantly, however, when it came time for the anime to give a voice to this character, they ended up choosing a female voice for her. While the anime itself is not canon, the team behind the anime seemingly has some correspondence with Oda, and this also extends to their choice of voice actors. For example, the anime cast the same voice actor for the roles of Tenguyama Hitetsu and Kosuke Sukiyaki, years before it was revealed that they were the one and the same character in the manga. Now then, let's break down all the evidence why this character could be the same girl who came to Elbaf through the magic circle. Other than both of them seemingly being female, the girl on Elbaf is in possession of at least some of Imu's special powers, and these are powers Imu has so far only given to his closest servants, who are aware of his existence. There is also a strong hint that the girl on Elbaf is a celestial dragon, as she seemingly shares their views of racial supremacy, where she is immediately insulted when the giants do not obey her, and literally makes the giant bow down to her. We've seen celestial dragons behave this way before, where even if they're in foreign land, they expect all the locals to essentially treat them as gods. Admittedly, the evidence here isn't exactly rock solid, and it could be that this girl and Imu's attendant are just two separate characters. I should however point out that the One Piece manga very consistently does something like this, where a seemingly new character is actually revealed to be someone we've met before. The most recent example of this is Rodo, who'd only previously appeared in a cover story, and whose identity as the sun god was only hinted at by the style of his boots. On this note, if this theory is somehow correct, and the girl who came to Elbaf is the same character whom we've seen with Imu, it could also be that we've seen her one other time in the story. During Kuma's flashback, we see that Saint Vigarland Garling was accompanied by a number of other celestial dragons at God Valley. By Garling's own words, at least some of these characters were also his fellow members of the God's Knights. More importantly, however, we see that at least 3 of these characters were female, and I actually think one of them could be the same character we've now seen 38 years in the future on Elbaf. I think this could in fact be the girl with the hat and the gun. We can pretty much confirm that it cannot be the 2 other female characters, as one's eyes and the other's hair do not match the girl on Elbaf. The girl with the hat, however, has light hair, just like the character on Elbaf, and her eyes are also conveniently shaded out under the rim of her hat. Interestingly, this girl on God Valley is not a relative of Garling's, as she says that she belongs to the Manmeyer family. Just like the girl on Elbaf, she also appears to be a firm believer in the celestial dragon's superiority, as she looks very gleeful at the chance to hunt down the natives of God Valley, and her hat is also adorned with the 5-pointed symbol of the world government. What I find funny is that there could have actually been a smoking gun that would have confirmed whether this theory is correct or not, but the One Piece anime taking its half-a-year break completely ruined it. Basically, the smoking gun would have been if the character who attended Imu and the girl with the hat on God Valley had had the same voice actor, which could have inadvertently confirmed this whole theory. Granted, that wouldn't be foolproof evidence either, where plenty of One Piece characters actually have the same voice actor, where for example, Whitebeard and Crocodile are currently performed by the same person. Furthermore, even if these 2 were the same character, there would be a 38-year gap between these 2 scenes, and the One Piece anime likes to give children and adult versions of characters different actors. As it stands though, this video is really just a random prediction. The Celestial Dragon Girl on Elbaf could be another Odo-like character whom we've met before, or she could just be someone entirely new to the story. I might not have even made this video if not for the Rodo reveal, and I feel like that twist essentially forces me as a content creator to try to predict if every new mystery character in this story is someone we've met before. One certainty based on these last few Elbaf chapters, however, is that there clearly are celestial dragons even outside the elders who Imu has granted his powers to. If you're interested, you should click here to watch another video from my channel, where I break down why not only Imu's servants, but Shanks could also have these very same powers. and that they are the reason why he managed to get to Marineford so fast in the pre-time skip. As always, thanks a lot for watching this video to the end.